I think you can remember last week I told you religions never exist if there are no heavens and hells. I told you if heavens and hells were closed down, and religionists also have to close down their business. Because they depend on heaven to create temptation in the man's mind and frighten people by illustrating hell. These two things are no more in this world and no more religion. And the way how the Buddha has introduced his religion is not based on heaven. In fact, nothing to do with heaven. The ultimate aim of this religion is not heaven. Because of our ignorance and what you call crazy attitude towards worldly pleasure, we think heaven is eternal and everlasting or unchangeable. That is called ignorance. By knowing the mentality of human beings and their selfishness, religionists have illustrated hell to create fear in your mind to avoid evil or wicked things. Otherwise, you are not scared to commit any kind of evil thing if there is no hell. Just to avoid, to escape from hell, you stop many of your wicked things and dangerous things. The very day when you come to know that there is no hell, you start your business. Take for instance, in every government there are laws introduced, enforced by the authorities to punish people. Then army, police, authorities, then judges, to punish people, to catch the culprits. So, maintain peace and order and justice because of the laws introduced by the government. Supposing if this government announced one day, all right, we will give you freedom for 24 hours. Only for 24 hours, and no law, no police, no army. You can do anything whatever you like. Because we want to test how far you have developed your mind, how far you can practice your religion, how cultured you are. We want to test. Give freedom only for 24 hours. I think within 24 hours you will destroy the whole country. Because there is nobody to punish you. This is the nature of human mind. The fear of punishment govern or control your mind. Otherwise, very difficult for you to control your own mind. By knowing this situation, the Buddha has introduced religion in such a way, instead of creating temptation and fear to introduce a religion, he wanted to create some sort of understanding in our mind. Why certain things are bad and why certain things are good. So we have to understand only these two things. But others are not trying to explain. why these things are bad and why those things are good. What they say, if you do these things, you go to hell. If you do these things, you go to heaven. That's all. No understanding in your mind. So, because of your craving, you do good things to go to heaven. Because of your fear, you try to avoid bad things because you don't like to go to hell. Fear and craving, these two things control you, but no understanding. Whenever chances arise in your mind, you can violate everything because no understanding. This is the danger. So we have to consider in this way. I don't like to do these things because I can understand the enormous suffering, disturbances, unhappiness, miseries that I create if I do that. I can see how people suffer if I violate this. By considering in this way, we make up our mind not to do this. That is called understanding. Not because of fear. So when you develop this understanding, remember, with this understanding, you also cultivate your kindness, your sympathy, your cooperation, your harmony. You contribute all these things for others to live peacefully. This is the beauty in that understanding. You say, oh, I don't like to do this. If I do that, I have to go to hell. It is selfishness. You never consider how others feel if you do such wicked things. The Buddha's way of teaching is like this. Analyze, understand. Again, when you are going to do some good deed or some service to others to relieve their suffering, you think, yes, if I do this, I can go to heaven. Otherwise you don't want to do this. You don't want to do any service to anybody if there is no heaven for you to go and enjoy. Selfishness. Nothing but selfishness. Whether there is heaven or not, as human beings, it is our duty to do some service to others. Because it is mentioned, Parartha charyaya satang hi jivana. The main purpose of our living in this world is to do some service to others. Otherwise, no purpose in our life. If you think the purpose of our life is to enjoy and eat and drink and dance and have sex and this and that, you are worse than animals, because animals also doing the same thing. Then where is the development of human mind? Because of this, we regard human beings as developed, understanding, living beings. So if we lead our life without doing any service to others, we waste our valuable human life. So we are born to this world to do some service to others. But on the other hand, when we do some service to others, please remember, we serve ourselves in return. We never think in that. Without serving others, we cannot serve ourselves. What does it mean? To serve others, we had to create good thoughts. We had to reduce cruelty, anger, jealousy, grudge, hatred, all the evil forces from the mind. Otherwise we cannot do any service to others. Then we develop our mind, our understanding. We cleanse our mind, take out so many dirts from our mind when we think in that way. And this is the duty of a religion. Not to create temptation to go to heaven. And then, with understanding, happiness, you do some service to others. Again, when you come to know that because of your assistance, your support that you have given to others, how you could manage to relieve their suffering, their worries, their problems, you gain wonderful happiness. That is called merit from the Buddhist point of view. We always talk about merits and merits and merit. What is the meaning of merit? We say when you accrue, perform merits, we can go to heaven. What is this merit? Merits mean when we do some good deed or some service to others with good intention, not with selfishness, with good intention, the happiness that we gain through our action, our service, is called merit. If you do not know how to gain this happiness, there is no merit. You wasted everything for nothing. Why happiness is important? We learn today. Last Sunday also I mentioned, but repeat again and again until you realize. In Mahasamaya Sutra, the Buddha is saying, Yekeci buddhang saranang gatate nate gamissanti apaya. Now this saying you can find there. If you want to know, go and read Paritta chanting book, Pali, and English translation, Book of Protection. Because your way of saying, when you want to talk about Buddhism, I always blame you, accuse you. Why? When you want to talk about your religion, you come and tell us, people say like this. There is nobody to tell, the Buddha says like this. Can you say anything? The Buddha says like this? Nothing. Whenever you want to come and talk about Buddhism, you say people say like this. And who are those people? Very shallow. That is why other religions come and bully you. And you surrender everything as hopeless cases. Your duty is to learn what the Buddha said. Very solid, very dynamic, very meaningful advices for you to strengthen your understanding. But you don't want to do this. And look at this saying. Others come and tell you, if you don't accept this religion, there is nobody to save you. We pity on you. See how stupid you are. You cannot understand what the Buddha said about this. When they come and tell you, try to tell you how to go to heaven, you have no guts to say, don't come and teach us how to go to heaven. We also know how to go to heaven. Before your religion come into existence, we have learned how to go to heaven. This is the same. Next Sunday I will ask you to repeat. What is this? Not necessary to repeat in Pali. Can give. If anyone take refuge in the Buddha before his or her death, Ekeci buddhang saranang gatate, nate gamissanti apayam. That person, after his or her death, never go to hell. Remember. If anybody take refuge in the Buddha before his or her death, that is why every time you say buddhang saranang gacchami, repeat again and again and again. Repetition. You take refuge. This gives wonderful inspiration, confidence, understanding in your mind. You never think in that way. Nate gamissanti apaya. Apaya means hell. Then what will happen to him? Pahaya manusang dehang. After his or her death, devakayang paripurisanti. Go and join with all the other devas in heaven. That means will be born in heaven. But this person has not done any meritorious deeds earlier. This is another important thing that we have to study. You say, all right, then why should we spend a lot to perform meritorious deeds? Before we die, we say buddhang saranang gacchami, that is enough for us to go to heaven. Isn't it? Very easy. That's why I want to explain this. The happiness that we create in our mind, we happen to see the Buddha. If not, recall the Buddha into the mind at that moment and create the image of the Buddha in our mind, the happiness that appears at that time pave the way to go to heaven. Happiness. If we die with that happiness in our mind, never go to hell. Nate gamissanti apaya. Never go to hell. Never means after that death. Then how can others come and teach us how to go to heaven? Then, what is the fate of this person who went to heaven by recalling or taking refuge, the Buddha, into his mind, without performing any meritorious deeds earlier? It's like this. And you got a free ticket, air ticket, to go to Hong Kong or Japan. Free ticket. So, by using this ticket, you went to Japan or Hong Kong, but no pocket money. What will happen to you? You get into trouble, isn't it? Now you can understand why merits are important. Earlier, you had to accumulate, collect some merits as your pocket expenses wherever you go, whether as human beings or devas, even animals also. You know, certain animals really enjoy their life. That means they have certain hidden good karma in them. Although certain bad karmas condition or produce their life to be born as animals, they too have some merits in them to enjoy their life. So the merits are important for us to spend there, to find out our food and clothing and shelter and comfort and everything, our requisite, without any difficulty. So when you compare, when you study 5,000 millions Today they say there are 5,000 million human beings on this earth. So amongst those 5,000 million, how many human beings are there? How many millions are there without even one meal a day? How many millions are starving and dying? How many millions are there who cannot find out a piece of cloth just to cover their nakedness? Here, every day we collect and throw away, saying they are old clothing. How many millions are there in many countries who cannot find out a shelter for them to sleep? For generations, they sleep the pavement, under the trees, no shelter, no house. How many millions are suffering without medicine, no income, and dying? On the other hand, so many others are enjoying. They have more than enough. They do not know what to do with their food and clothing and money and houses and so many things. Why this discrimination, this difference? Do you know that lady who ran away from Philippines to America? When she left the palace, she could not carry everything and found out how many thousands of pair of shoes, how many thousands of, what do you call, I don't know the name, blouse or what do you call it? How many thousands? Only for one body, you know. To cover one small body, few thousand dresses. Can you imagine? On the other hand, millions are dying without piece of cloth. This is a living example for us to understand why these differences. Now we are talking about heaven. People come and tell you at the dying moment, if you want to go to heaven, you must accept this religion. We want to baptize you, convert you, then you can go to heaven. And this person dies. Assume they could manage to send him to their heaven. But this person is a stranger to their heaven. He has not collected enough merit to enjoy his life. Now then the warning or the advice given by the Buddha is this. Whenever chances arise, don't forget to do some good deeds, to accumulate some merits. Why? They are important for you as long as you live here in this world and hereafter, after your death. If you go there without accumulating certain merit, you get into trouble. So, what is our subject this morning? I do not know. Where is the master of ceremony? What is the title? Heaven or hell, or what is it? Now we are in between heaven and hell, you know. Hell, isn't it? Right. So just now I mentioned how to escape from hell, isn't it? If you want to escape from hell, although you have done certain bad things, take refuge in the Buddha, maintain some happiness in your mind. You never go to hell. But just now I told you, you can go to heaven after that, but no pocket expenses. Then, where is hell? Only religious teacher in this world who mentioned very clearly in his teaching, in Majjhima Nikaya Sutra Pitaka, Samyutta Nikaya Sutra Pitaka, you can see what the Buddha said about hell. All the others say their father created heaven and hell. Their father created earth. The Buddha says he did not create heaven and hell. His father also did not create heaven and hell. But he has given very meaningful interpretation. He explained what they are and where they exist in his teaching. I think you have heard this nice joke. A preacher was giving a talk, and he started to talk, our Father, when he started to create heaven and earth, then he went on preaching and preaching. Suddenly one naughty fellow got up and asked, may I know what was he doing before he started to create heaven and earth? It's a very difficult question to answer. Then he said, do you know what was he doing at that time? At that time he was creating hell for those who ask this kind of questions. This kind of preaching never appealed to their mind. But here, in this part of the world, still there is vacuum for them to inject this kind of idea. Take time for you to understand what they taught. So, remember what the Buddha said about hell. He said, hell is not located, not situated under this earth. All the others say under this earth. Hell is not located under the great ocean. Hell is not located at the bottom of the Mahameru, the rock. Hell is not located in any particular area in this universe. Hell is not created by anybody in this world. Remember these sayings of the Buddha. The book, Majjhima Nikaya and Samyutta Nikaya. Because you never read this book. You come and say, people say heaven is there, people say hell is there. But you don't know what the Buddha says, where it is. Then what is the Buddhist attitude towards hell? Whether hell exists or not. You must understand. Some people say, because Buddhism never says, that is why I say some people say, that heaven and hell both are here, on this earth. It is not the truth. Yes, no doubt, we experience heaven and hell both here on this earth. But this is not the only place where living beings experience heavenly bliss and suffering in hell. This is not the only place. Therefore, that interpretation is wrong. This is the only place is wrong. Then further explanation. Where there are more suffering, physically and mentally, either as human beings or animals or ghosts or spirits or any other forms of living beings, throughout their life, sufferings and sufferings, nothing but suffering. That is called hell. This is the way how the Buddha has introduced hell. That's why I told you it is not located in any particular planet or any particular area. In certain families, certain houses, certain countries, you can see how human beings are suffering, how animals are suffering. Is it wrong for us to regard such places as hell? That is what the Buddha says. That is why the Buddha says hell is not eternal. There is no eternal hell. There is no eternal heaven. All are changeable. There is a duration, time limit for everything. For our sufferings also there is a time limit. There is no such thing as eternal suffering. All our enjoyment also, exactly like this, there is a time limit for our enjoyment. We cannot enjoy forever. Changes take place. Again, when we refer to the Buddha, to prove this, a very rich man, his name is Kutadanta, came to the Buddha and asked, we are householders. We have no time to meditate, no time to renounce the worldly life. We cannot devote our whole life for religious activities. Even then, we like to go to heaven after our death. Can you please tell me how to go to heaven? Asked the Buddha. Now the answer given by the Buddha is this. Why do you want to wait until you die to go to heaven? If you are wise, if you know how to handle this human life, you can experience heavenly bliss while you are living here in this world. So that means heaven is not reserved only for us to enjoy after our death. While we are living here also we can experience it. Of course, if we have accumulated enough merits after our death, when another existence or rebirth take place, that place can become more peaceful, contented, happy, prosperous life. And then we create that heaven by ourselves. There is no God to create that heaven for us. Do you know, every minute while we are living here, we are creating our own heaven and own hell. Every minute. How do we do that? In every thought, every word, every action, there are certain ingredients, either good or bad, good or bad, good or bad. So if our thoughts are bad, wicked, cruel, selfish, dangerous, as soon as those thoughts appear in our mind, we create akusala karma or bad karma. And these karmic seeds never disappear, deposited. Modern psychologists say deposited in the subconscious mind. Now, your hatred, your jealousy, your ill will, your anger, all these evil forces, you create bad karmic seeds and deposit in the subconscious mind, remain there. You know how dangerous they are. On the other hand, you create some good thoughts. Your kindness, compassion, understanding, generosity, sympathy, so many good thoughts you develop. All these are good karmic thoughts. So you deposit these good karmic seeds also in the mind. That's why every minute you are doing this. Again you use words to talk. By talking, you console others, you advise others, you extend your kindness and cooperation to others. All these are good karmic words. Again you create good karmic seeds by using your words. On the other hand, you use very vulgar, wicked, dangerous, harsh words to accuse, to abuse, to curse others, and created bad karmic seed by using such words deposited. When every day you do something, through your action, if your actions are harmful, if you do certain things to swindle, to bluff, to cheat, to disturb, to destroy, to harm others, all these actions create bad karmic seed deposit. So can you imagine how much that you have collected from your childhood up to the last breath, accumulated. And now we have come to a very delicate juncture, very critical. At the dying moment, there will be a very big problem in our mind, because we have accumulated so much bad karmic seed and so much good. And which one get the first chance? Now going to depart from this life, going to create another new life. And that new life is responsible or depend on these good karmic seed and bad karmic seed. Although you have done more bad deeds, at the last moment, dying moment, you had the opportunity, as I mentioned, recall the Buddha or create happiness, or to recall some good deeds, meritorious deeds or services that you have rendered towards others. Then you get the chance to have a better rebirth, because that has become the last thought appeared in the mind. So the last thought gets the chance to condition, to produce the next life. So all the other bad karmic deeds remain behind. You cannot eradicate, remain behind. If not, another method. At the dying moment, the mind weighs the weighty karma. Which one is more heavy? Which part? Whether good karma or bad karma. If there are more good karmas, then you get the chance to have a better life. If there are more bad karmas, then rebirth can take place in an unfortunate state. Our own mind creates all those things. No external forces there. God or devil have nothing to do with this. Our own mind decides everything. But we cannot decide purposely as we decide today. Because at that moment, our mental attitude or the mental faculties are not normal like at this moment. Senses are not working with the mind. Mind cannot create even the mental object at that moment. All the deposited good and bad karmic seed projects to the normal mind. These are the things that start to work in the mind just like a film show. What you are accumulating in your day-to-day life, at the last moment, when you are unconscious, especially when you are unconscious, you are having a nice film show here. All the film that you have accumulated and deposited, you are enjoying at that time. But you cannot choose any particular film purposely. Otherwise, you can think, all right, why worry? I keep this in my mind, these good deeds. When I am going to die, I think only that. It doesn't work in that way because this comes in its own accord, automatically. There is another good chance. When you train your mind for certain good deeds and use as your habits, these good deeds you practice as your habits. Take simple example. Every morning or every evening, you have made it a habit to offer at least 1 or 2 flowers in front of the image or in the name of the Buddha and pay respect. That's all. This is your habits now. If not joystick or light, whatever you have, if not just a glass of water, keep there and pay respect. Now this has become habits. But every time when you do this, remember, you create a lot of confidence and happiness in your mind. It has been going on again and again and again and again and again. At the dying moment, although there are so many other good and bad karmas, but this one can get first preference, chance, because it's repeated action again and again and again and again. Very easily we can recall this into our mind. Then rebirth can take place in a good place. There are many stories. When you read Dhammapada, there are many stories like that. If not, we perform some religious services when people are going to die as last rites. But we have to do this when they are conscious. After their unconsciousness, very difficult because they cannot grasp anything. They cannot hear, they cannot see. Now if you can show a Buddha picture or Buddha image, if not you can show a monk with yellow robe, if not offering of joysticks, if they are used to it, candles or flowers or anything. If not, do some chanting. If there is nobody to chant, you can play a cassette tape. Allow this person to listen to the sound vibration. Then he can concentrate toward this. If that person dies while concentrating on one of these items, definitely he gets the chance to have a better rebirth. Because at the last moment, the mind was pure. Not allowed any evil force to come and occupy the mind. People cannot understand this thing. Naturally, we perform funeral rites and everything after they are dead. Yes, just to show off, that's all. No real religious value for burning these sort of rubbish things. If you really want to help the departed person who is going to die, you must do something before that person died, when he was conscious, when he can see and hear and understand or think. You must do something before that person died, when he was conscious, when he can see and hear and understand or think. The happiness he maintains. You know that young boy, very rich father, but stingy. The son was very sick. He did not go to any physician or a doctor to find out some medicine because he was very stingy. Did not want to spend anything. He goes here and there and discuss with others. So what do you think about this kind of sickness, and what sort of medicines are suitable for this sickness? So after listening to those people at the roadside, and he come and prepare medicine. But in the end, now the boy was in a very critical condition. He was about to die. And by knowing that he is going to die inside the house, they carried him and put outside veranda. The Buddha, early morning, every day, the first duty of the Buddha to survey. Is there any person who seeks my service? Then he saw this poor boy through his vision. He went and stood in front of him. This boy has never seen the Buddha. So, accidentally, when he opened his eyes, he saw the Buddha was standing in front of him, so serene and charming and nice and pleasing to the eye. The happiness that appeared in his mind, remarkable, having seen the Buddha. In a short while, he died. So after his death, he was born in one of the Deva loka where those Devas can experience more pleasure, worldly pleasure. That is the only meritorious deeds that he has done. The happiness that he created before his death in seeing the Buddha. That is why at the beginning I told you, take refuge in the Buddha. Create the Buddha in your mind. Recall him. That happiness paved the way for you to have a better life and to escape from hell. Hell means suffering state. After his death, the father was very worried and he buried his dead body. But every day he goes there and do some offerings and cry. Crying and only son. And come back. So one day, his son, who was born as one of the Devas, watching what his father was doing, he saw he is crying. He came back. He also appeared as a human being. He was a young man also crying there. Then he went to see him. But he cannot see anything there. He said, I am crying here because my son died and buried here. So why do you cry? Can you tell me? Then he told me, actually I want to make a cart, a bullock cart, 2 wheels one. I want to use sun and moon as wheels to make this cart. So I am praying and asking and crying to get this sun and moon to make my cart. Then this old man asked, how can you get these 2 things to make your bullock cart? Then the young man asked, then why do you come and cry here? For what purpose? Actually, I am crying at least for something which I can see. Although I cannot get, I can see sun and the moon. But you are crying for someone whom you cannot see. Then the old man realized he is wrong. This story really shows if we can gain that happiness at the dying moment, we can escape from hell, we can have a better rebirth. Then I mentioned the Buddhist concept of heaven and hell. They are not separate places created by God, created by devil. not located somewhere in any part of the universe where there are living beings, whether humans or animals or devas or brahmas or any other forms of living beings, how they experience their pleasant and unpleasant feelings, their happiness and worries and miseries, physically and mentally. Then we divide into two. This is hell and this is heaven. Again, those who talk about eternal heaven and eternal hell, I understand. Those who have been preaching for nearly 2000 years that the hell is eternal, now discussing, having conferences, conventions to withdraw that belief. Very soon they will announce that hell is not eternal, because they cannot prove. That is why the Buddha says, all these places are heaven and hell and any kind of existence are changeable, impermanent. He wanted to reveal the truth, but some people like to have eternal. How nice. Now you like to go to eternal heaven, no changes. How do you feel? How do you feel if you eat durian every day? How long can you eat? You like to eat durian, isn't it? You drive for 30, 40, 50 miles to eat durian. You like it. But how do you feel if you eat durian every day for 1 year? What will happen to you? This eternal heaven is like that. Everything is changeable. Use your common sense. All are changeable. Changes are necessary. Now you are sitting here. How many hours? What you need now? You have to stand. When you get up, you feel a very big relief. All right. How long can you stand like this? How many hours? Again you like to sit down. After sitting down, again you get fed up. Then what do you want? You want to lie down. Then how long can you lie down like this? How many hours? Again you want to get up. This is the nature of our pain and pleasure. All are changeable. We need changes. These changes we take as pleasure and pain. People cannot understand this. So, my advice is, according to the Buddha, you should not listen to those people who try to create unnecessary fear in your mind by talking about hellfire. Recently an article appeared in Malay Mail. In England, a health department or the medical department made an appeal to the missionaries. What is this appeal? Please don't disturb innocent people's mind by frightening them, illustrating hellfire. Because there are so many mental cases created by you, creating this fear in their mind. As psychiatrists, we have no remedy. Very difficult for us to cure. You have created this fear. So we appeal those missionaries not to frighten people talking about hell. They realize the truth. Use your human mind. You have sense of reasoning. Why these things are wrong? If you keep away from bad things without realizing this, there is no development in your mind. There is no understanding in your mind. Whenever chances arise, again you make the same mistake. Because of that fear, you stop for the time being. But when this understanding appears, you know, I never do this, because I know it is bad. Again, I like to do some service to others. Not because that I want to go and enjoy my life in heaven, but it is my duty as human being. The happiness that I gain gives contentment in my life for me to think I did not waste my valuable human life. That happiness paved the way for us to experience more and more happiness again and again. Don't be crazy to go to heaven and enjoy your life by doing some service to others. That is selfishness. See, Buddhist concept of heaven. As I told you, we can practice this religion without depending on heaven, because our ultimate aim is not heaven. Why? Heaven is changeable. There is a time limit in heaven. Maybe thousands or millions of years. One day, definitely, there will be an end to it. After that, what is the fate of these people? It is like this. You may go to Genting Highland by taking $10,000 and stay there 2-3 days and go on enjoying, eating and gambling. You really enjoy a nice climate also. You say, very nice. You are in heaven now. And after that you found out you are bankrupt. All gone. In the end you had to sell your motor car also. There were so many people I met, they had to sell their motor car. So going to heaven to enjoy their life is exactly going to Genting Highland to enjoy their life until they finish their merits. In heaven there are no chances for you to do meritorious deeds. Remember this. Whatever you have taken from here, you spend. When you are bankrupt, you drop. Nobody knows what will happen to you. As human beings, although you have suffering, you have problems and difficulties, you have chances to do a lot of meritorious deeds. So while enjoying, you spend what you have collected. So while spending and spending, you also accumulate and deposit. Only human beings can do this. This is the advantage of becoming human beings. Animals cannot do this. In fact, they pay for what they have done. They have no chance to do meritorious deeds. Ghosts and spirits and devils also cannot do this. The formations of their minds is just like human beings. No chance of accumulating good merits. No chance of doing some service to others. Animals also have no chance to do some service. Actually, they don't do any service. When a cat go and catch your rat, you think this cat is doing some service to you. But the cats never had the idea that he is doing some service to you. Again, a dog at night time, they happen to see somebody bark. That is the nature of dog. But the dog has no idea that I must bark as my duty to inform my master. They have no such idea. That's their nature. So, there is a nice story in our school book. When I was studying in primary school, standard 1, I think I learned this story. In a house, there was a donkey and a dog. At night time, this dog, started howling and making a hell of a noise. There is a period, some dogs make hell of a noise at night time. So the master could not sleep. He got damn wild and beat him properly and went to bed. And the dog was very angry. He went to sleep. At midnight, thieves entered into the house. The dog was keeping quiet, didn't want to bark. And then this donkey, he thought, now, dog is keeping quiet. Therefore, I must do some service to my master. So the donkey started to make noise. Then the master came up, started to make the donkey also. Because he doesn't know why this fellow is making noise. They have collected enough merits to enjoy their life. They have long life, nice food, very good mansions or palace, and everything what they want. They gain without any difficulty. But no religion, no spiritual development, no meditation. After spending and spending and spending, one day there will be an end to it. When another rebirth takes place due to certain other remaining karmas, that life can become unfortunate one. Because there they had no chance to collect enough good karma. That's what the Buddha says. Understand, you are, as human beings, you are more advanced. Because your human mind, you can develop up to the maximum level. Others cannot do this. Only a human being can become a Buddha. Deva or Brahma cannot become. A God cannot become a Buddha, cannot develop that mind up to that maximum. Human mind is such. On the other hand, when we misuse and abuse with crookedness and selfishness, we misuse this mind to create troubles and problems and difficulties and suffering. That is why it is necessary for us to train this mind, to make use of this mind. Then we can avoid hell, we can experience heavenly bliss. Not enough, they are changeable. Our aim of this religion, Buddhism, is not heaven, we have to go beyond. Further spiritual developments are needed. Because in heaven, those devas, if you examine their mind, you can see they have craving, they have selfishness, they have anger, they have jealousy. Not free from all these things. It's only through spiritual development as human beings we will be able to eradicate, cleanse our mind, to find out the final goal, final salvation. So final salvation is not heaven. We have to go beyond that. So this belief was there for thousands of years before the Buddha's coming, that the final goal is Devaloka or heaven. The final goal is Brahmaloka, but the Buddha says no. No doubt. Now, 500 years here on this earth, only one day to the nearest heaven. And there, maximum lifespan 500 according to their years, heavenly years. Then how many years? That is the lowest one. Then the more they go higher and higher and higher and higher, increase and increase and increase. This is not a big problem for you to understand. 28 days here on this earth, one day to our nearest moon. You know that, isn't it? Only one day. Even then, there is a time limit. So that is not the final goal. The Buddha has pointed out this. Don't satisfy thinking that you found out your final goal. You may experience temporary worldly pleasure with anger, jealousy, grudge, craving. These things again create troubles. Devas and devas fight because of their anger and craving. So no peace, no satisfaction in their life. So we have to develop our way of life until we gain our complete satisfaction in our life. So whatever we gain here in this world, we never experience satisfaction. We go more crazy and we develop fear or suspicion or insecurity feeling. And then where is happiness? And this is the nature of pleasure that we are experiencing. But when you develop our mind by reducing these things, cultivating the spiritual side, then complete satisfaction.